Hey folks, welcome back to another OWTV interview. My name is Apostle, and joining me today, we have a man who's been called the best flex support in North America. It's Rupal, joining us from Team Liquid. Rupal, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
So, real quick, for anyone who's not familiar with you, they haven't seen your game, can you just give us a quick introduction, tell us who you are?
My name is Rupal. It's my gamer tag and my real name. And I've been playing Overwatch competitively for, I think, about like 4 years. I played in the Overwatch League on Florida Mayhem, last year on Toronto Defiant, and this year for Team Liquid as a flex support player.
Now, you are actually a former Overwatch League champion. Before we get into like kind of the meat and potatoes of this from you, I want to ask, what is it like to kind of hold a title like that?
It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. It's definitely obviously the peak of my career, and it was really awesome. Not just like winning on that day, but it was a culmination of a full year's worth of work for the entire team. You know, it wasn't like we were the best team the entire year. I had to struggle a lot. So all that effort, like actually culminating in something that's like tangible, it was a really great feeling.
Yeah. How do you feel it's affected like you as a player now? Do you think it's made you like more confident or kind of more willing to maybe take leadership positions as in your teams and stuff?
I think I've always, not always, but since Overwatch League, even like before winning, I like took leadership roles on the team just because I'm pretty loud and I have like a lot of strong opinions. But after winning, I'd say I have a lot more confidence for sure because going from like Florida Mayhem to Toronto Defiant, we have like some of the same players like me, Merritt, and someone, but not everybody's the same. It's like new coaches, new players with like Vega and Lenny, and then obviously Team Liquid is way different.
Right.
So I think because of that, I do try to always give my opinion and try to like guide my teammates into like better play, better decisions, better play style. However, I know.
Awesome. All right. Well, now let's actually start breaking down the matches that we saw from Team Liquid on this most recent weekend, because I'm sure everyone has a lot of questions, especially regarding the match we saw with Team Liquid versus Sakura. This was a bit of a closer series than I think a lot of people expected. Were you guys kind of surprised by Sakura's performance in this game?
Yeah, I think we were definitely a little bit surprised. We weren't going into that weekend very like serious because we basically won all of our hard matches for the stage, and you know we were practicing really hard, so it was kind of like, okay, this is the chill weekend. Next weekend is playoffs, and that's like we're gonna like actually lock in for that for the new season and everything, new patch. So going into that, we were a little bit surprised by Sakura. They were definitely better than we expected. We didn't play that great as well. After we lost the second map, though, I think all of us just focused and played how we normally do, and it was all right.
Right. Now, kind of breaking it down map by map here. On the first map of Illios, we saw you guys running into the Orisa. Was there much you needed to adapt here once you saw the Orisa, or was a lot of it just kind of Zeb pulling crazy picks out of nowhere?
I don't think the Orisa is something we need to like adapt to. It's not really that special. It's kind of like just any other ground tank. It's like a weaker version of Zarya, the way like they're playing it. But Zeb actually made some insane plays. I'll be honest, he's probably one of the best Orisas like at least in North America, if not like all of like the West. He literally speared me and Big off the map. It's like 2 fights in a row. I've never seen anybody do that. That was insane.
The broadcast didn't actually catch it. What was like your reaction in that moment?
I was just like, no way. And then when it happened to Vega, we were like, this guy's too good. This guy's just too good.
Yeah. But once you guys kind of locked in, though, you think it was kind of just like you were able to download the Orisa, or just kind of realize that it wasn't really impacting things too much as long as you weren't getting speared?
Yeah, pretty much. I think with our comp on Illios, a lot of times we can just ignore the Ursa or avoid him. He is like, it's hard for him to get value outside of like those crazy spears.
Right. Now, moving on to the second map, Esperança, we saw you guys had a pretty big lead, but ended up losing it in overtime against the Zarya comps. What do you think kind of happened there? What was the problem?
I think we had a series of just like poorly executed fights where our ults didn't get value, and they won with like either not using an ult or just using less ults. So then when it came to like the last like minute or so, um, they just had more ults than us, and it was really hard to win the fight on point. I think we struggled to like play around us having the lead. I think there's a lot of times when either our push wasn't like strong enough, or we didn't even need to push and we forced it. And I think that's why we lost the map.
So would you say it's maybe getting like a little bit overconfident against on paper weaker team, or?
Yeah, I definitely think after we got the big lead, like people, I'm not gonna say people stopped trying, but people were definitely like just chilling a little bit more, not taking it as
Right.
seriously.
So is kind of looking back with the benefit of hindsight, is there any like comp change or strategy change you would have made, or do you think it just kind of came down to like a micro things?
I think our comp was fine. It's just that it felt like anytime we use an ult, it just didn't get enough value because either we're not like pushing hard enough, or maybe we're like Ikurial and it's like way too early, or we're so jolting and we're not like helping our sojourn enough. Like the way we use our ults, like maybe we were going first with it and using them at the right time, but like we didn't. The whole team wasn't supporting the play, and they just caught us off guard.
Right. So just kind of you guys as a whole getting a little bit too individualistic.
Yeah,
Would you say that's something that is like a weakness for you guys, or are you guys normally more on the same page?
I think normally we're on the same page. Normally we're on the same page,
Okay.
especially recently.
Now, after Esperança, we saw a pretty easy Gibraltar coming in from you guys. And then in Kings Row as well, you guys kind of started steamrolling from there, just being able to deal with the Zarya and the Orisa very, very easily. It's almost got one sided in your favor after Esperança. Was there like just a lock in moment, or what was it that changed after that map?
I think we lost Esperanza and we were just like, okay, we need a win. Like let's stop trolling. And everybody was trying their hardest. Like we were trying like as if we're playing against like I don't know like GK or SSG. I think we just weren't taking. They're pretty good on it. Like Sakura's pretty good, and we just weren't taking them seriously.
Did you guys kind of have like one of those, like we've seen it happen many times where when it's a team loses a map, or they drop to like a lower bracket or something, they kind of like they get pissed off and they lock in. Is that, did you guys get a little bit angry at Sakura for kind of breaking what should have been a 3-0 for you guys?
I don't think we were necessarily angry. It was more like okay, like let's just win, guys. Like, nobody was really upset after we lost the map. Like everybody knew like oh we played pretty bad. Like
Right.
we just had some too many troll moments, and they all added up.
Right. So overall, though, it's not a match that you guys as a team are too concerned about. It's not something that needs much reflection. Just kind of chalk it up to being unprepared and stay focused on the games that matter.
Yeah, I mean, we did look over the map. We reviewed Esperanza and talked about like how we lost and what like the things that we could have done differently. But yeah, we're not like super worried about that.
Now, kind of flipping the perspective here with your firsthand experience, how good do you think Sakura is, given that they were able to kind of take advantage of the fact they caught you off guard?
I think Sakura is pretty good, but I like it's hard to say if they're going to be able to like punch up to like the next level, which is like the top four of NA, which is like Nightmare, SSG, and GK, and us. Like us four teams, we're like all like similar-ish level, and we're the top four, obviously. But I think they're just like outside that. I think they'll have to just improve as a team to reach the level that we're at.
So not quite dark horse level quite yet.
Yeah, I don't think so.
All right. Well, moving on to your next match. I know this one generated a lot of interactions on Twitter because it was the match versus DhillDucks, where we saw
Yeah.
all kinds of crazy stuff. Danny got an appearance on Gibraltar. Now, out of curiosity, after, maybe not quite taking Sakura too seriously against DhillDucks, was that something that you did want to take more seriously to kind of avoid being the first team to potentially drop a map?
No, actually, the funny thing is like we were talking about it like both like after our Sakura match and before the DhillDucks match. Like, what if we're already locked for the first seed because we won the head to head between like every other team, right?
Mhm.
And we won every single match before that. So what if we just gave them their first win? Like it would we'd still get the first seed, but we would give them their first win. Like we were talking about that, but And by we, I mean like the players. Our coaches probably would not have been okay with that. But in the end, we just decided to have fun because they're a team that, I mean, they don't take themselves too seriously, and that's fine.
Right.
You know, that's fine. So we're just gonna play the match, have fun. Tree was having a little bit too much fun, and ruined his like fantasy points or something.
Yeah. Well, what are your thoughts on Tree kind of making himself into the WWE heel of
I
the
mean,
game?
I think it's pretty funny. I think it's pretty funny, but I mean,
Is
I
he
don't really
aware that there's like a mob of fantasy players ready to hunt him down with pitchforks?
I don't think he's aware. I don't really care about fantasy, but yeah, low key, if I was, or if I had a fantasy team and Tree was on it, and then he did that in the match, like I would actually not be very happy. So I can empathize with that.
Yeah, well, as long as you're in the same team house with them, make sure you lock your doors because those fantasy fans, they go crazy. Now, I do want to ask on Gibraltar, we saw you guys actually go into the overtime rounds. Was that kind of, you mentioned you had thought about, potentially giving them their first map. So was that kind of part of that play? Did you want to like make them think they might have it? Or was it kind of just maybe Danny doing a little trolling? What happened there?
I think, I mean, we weren't taking it too seriously, and I don't think our comp was very good either. And so like we weren't playing that well, and we had Danny in. Like there was too many variables that just like it made it pretty hard to win, low key. But after they full capped, like we actually locked in. Like everybody started like commenting like, like this is the map 7 grand finals. Like we really wanted to win with Danny, especially.
Right, right.
That's like a special win. That's a special win.
But like there were no nerves or anything once you got to that point.
No.
All right. Well, I kind of before we start talking about the playoffs, like you mentioned, you guys have locked first seed. You guys are looking pretty set for the playoffs. I do want to talk about the new patch that has just come out because Overwatch tradition, right? We get a playoffs patch. Do you have any early impressions of it? Any like, do you think it's going to be impactful at all?
Yeah, I think the patch is really impactful, mainly because of how much weaker Yang is. I think the Yang nerf, it doesn't really bother us that much because we mostly play like non-Yang comps, like the past stage. So it's honestly a good patch for us. It really hurts teams like GK who play Yang like almost everywhere. So the big thing though is because like the Ana buff, we're like one of the few teams that plays a decent amount of Ana. I think it's like a real strength for us. Because that like headshot perk, the buff that they did to it, is actually insane. Like you can literally 2-tap any squishy in the game just across the map. It's really strong.
So that's interesting. I want to kind of get some more info on that because obviously you're a player you great Ana. You've shown it many times on stage. We haven't seen too many players take that headshot multiplier perk, at least in the previous patches. So is that jump from 1.5 to 2x making that big a difference?
Yeah, I think so. On decent, not every map, but like any map that has like a long enough sight line where you can avoid them and they have to like cross super long distances to reach the Ana, then you can just rack headshots. Like it's pretty crazy. Especially not even, let's say you don't even like kill somebody, but if you land one headshot on a tracer, like cross up, just one headshot, she's just out of the fight. She has to go get a health back. Or like you see your tracers dueling each other, you land one headshot, he's just insta dead. Or if your monkey jumps in, you land one headshot, whoever he's jumping against also insta dead. Like there's so many times where that like big burst of damage can just change a fight.
Right. Now, I believe that the alternate is the bouncing grenade, correct?
Yeah.
Do you kind of like feel that it's worth the trade-off of not having that double nade?
Yeah. I wouldn't say every map, but I would say almost every map because you're realistically not even playing Ana on the like really close quarters small maps anyway.
Which is where the nade would be best.
Yeah, which is where the nade would be better. So like most of the times I'm playing Ana, or honestly anybody in OWCS is playing Ana, is on these long range maps where the headshot perk is better.
Okay. So I'm assuming, patch came out yesterday. You've probably been able to get a couple scrims in. Have you been like trying, or maybe not even Liquid specifically, but have you noticed that we're seeing like more Ana comps, maybe more dive comps? Like, is there anything kind of jumping out early based on your scrim impressions?
Yeah, there's definitely like teams in OWCS playing a lot more Ana. You see a lot less like Liang, obviously because of the nerfs. But most maps I would say boils down to just like Kirlicio, mirrors, and then everything else is like dependent on the team.
Right. Now, there is one patch note that had a lot of people worried. We saw Maga got buffed, pretty significantly, or maybe not significantly, but at least compared to the other tanks, he's the only kind of received like a straight buff compared to like, buff and nerf. Obviously, a lot of people are worried that we're going to have yet another Maga meta for playoffs. Is this something that you think is a concern, or having played, do you think it's not impactful?
Okay, we haven't played any Mauga, and we also haven't seen anybody play Mauga, but I have heard from other people that Mauga is not that good. He just like takes so much damage.
So the patch is a nothing burger for him.
Yeah,
Thank goodness. Thank
maybe
goodness.
maybe in ranked he's better, but in OWCS I don't think he's gonna. Yeah, I don't think he's gonna be played.
Awesome. Now, I do want to ask one more question, which is kind of about like the specific philosophy we've seen with this balance, where we didn't really get many changes to the core kits and the actual like base numbers being changed. A lot of it was just changes to like perks and stuff. How is that kind of approach to balancing? How do you feel about that?
I think it's pretty interesting because since they released perks, a lot of times like the meta is actually like heavily determined by which perks are like really strong. For example, like Tracer, for example, has been super strong since perks came out just because of her recall perk. Kiriko is also like turbo busted because of the double TP. That's why like you just see like all of Esports World Cup was just like both teams playing Kirilicio. Um, so I do see them like using perks to balance as a pretty cool way to balance the game. I like it a lot.
Do you prefer that to like the straight number changes that we used to get?
I think both can be used. I think both can be used. Because I don't like when, for example, like Reaper,
Mhm.
like his perk is really strong. The perk that makes his like TP really fast.
Yeah, the 25% faster for range reduction.
Yeah. Like that perk is just like super strong. I don't really want the perks to be that heavily like powerful on the game. Like I feel like
So
they
you don't
should
want the
be.
meta to be decided by perks alone.
Yeah, I don't want the meta. I do appreciate them like balancing perks when they can, but I don't think the meta should be like like, determined by perks.
Right. Now, I do want to ask also, with the patch coming out so close to the playoffs, we have less than a week to really practice it and get it down. Is this something that, Team Liquid is kind of worried about at all, or are you guys confident that you'll be able to adapt faster than anyone else?
I actually don't think we're like super worried about anything in particular. Maybe the only thing is because like we play like a lot of different comps. We're pretty flexible, so we're confident that we can adapt to anything. But we don't play Zarya, and Zarya is really strong right now. So right now, I mean, I'm pretty confident we'll be able to beat Zarya comps. But that's like the one thing that I guess could beat us.
Right. Do you think SSG paid off the devs to make sure Zarya didn't get touched?
Yeah, probably use like PG's money to pay them off or something.
Real. All right. Now, talking about the actual playoffs themselves here, you guys selected Nightmare as your first opponents. Can you talk to us about the kind of thinking behind that decision?
I think, I mean, we picked Nightmare just because we beat them before, and it was the out of the other like two options, I guess.
Do you think they're like the most decidedly fourth place, or?
Yeah, I think that's basically it. I'll just also mainly because we didn't go to map 5 with them. Like picking either GK or SSG, both teams that we had really close matches against. I feel like would be a bit foolish when we beat Nightmare 3-1, and we just view them as like the fourth place team.
Right. Do you is there any mentality of like wanting to get your or wanting to play Nightmare first, so that gives you a little bit more time to kind of gather data on SSG and GK? Does that come into it at all?
I don't know about that. I don't think so, but we just we just want to qualify for Stockholm, and we think
Right.
that's the easiest path.
Right. So if you do win this game, then you will qualify for Stockholm, like you said. Are you thinking much about like your seeding for Stockholm? Like, are there any parts of the bracket you want to specifically see or want to avoid? Like, just for reference, the NA number 3 seed would be in the same bracket as the EMEA number 2 seed and Weibo Gaming, or the number 2 seed would be against the Korea number 1 seed. And then if you're the first seed of NA, you get to skip around and go in the same part as Japan and Pacific. So, is that factoring kind of into how much you're kind of planning for the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely want to get the number 1 seed. We want to win. We want to win NA, win stage 3. But I don't really care honestly who we play at Stockholm as long as it's not Crazy Raccoons. I just don't want to play against them. That's
Right.
all.
So you want to I guess Crazy Raccoons aren't technically confirmed for number 1 seed of Korea quite yet, but you want to avoid number 2 of NA as much as possible.
Yeah.
Now, if you are able to finish in number 1 seed, then that means you'll be facing the Korea number 2 seed. Again, kind of just throwing predictions here. It's looking like that might be T1. We saw you guys play a pretty solid match against them in the Esports World Cup. If you do see that rematch, is that something that you're confident for?
Yeah, I definitely want to play them again because they're a really good team. They're definitely like the second best team in Korea. Really, like all their players are really strong, and they can play so many different like characters, especially with their backlines really flexible. And when we lost against them, honestly, it felt like we just lost to like a team that's just a better version of us. Like all their players, like
Mm,
and their play style, like they play like similar comps to us, but they were just better than us. Just like but like each of them was just like 5% better, and it just all added up. So
right.
I think it would be sick to have a rematch.
Yeah. How much of it would be like you guys wanting to, specifically get revenge and show the world that you guys are able to upset them?
I mean, yeah, it would mean a lot. Also, just because the Korean teams usually just win everything anyway. So if we go out there, put out a good showing, beat them, like that's an insane feeling, especially on stage.
Right. Now, I'm kind of going back to specifically stage 3 and looking at like specifically the top 3 here. How confident are you coming into these playoffs, and do you consider yourself the favorites to win this regular season?
Yeah, I'm really confident going into this tournament. I do think we're the favorites. I think we were the best team in like the regular season and last patch. I still think we're the best team. I think the patch only helped us.
Okay. Is there anything specific that you might be like looking for to come out from SSG or GK in an attempt to kind of get revenge against you guys?
To get revenge against us, I mean, I don't know. I think all 3 teams are like pretty good. GK, I would say, is like the one that is most interesting for us because we lost to them in the grand finals last stage, so we really want to beat them again and like just take the first place. But they're also the only other main tech team, which I think is pretty important. When we kind of like look at SSG and Nightmare as like almost the same team, like they play pretty similar comps and because they both have off tanks and like a hit scan player and like a tracer player, like a flex DPS. Whereas like they're kind of more similar to us. They're basically our rivals.
Okay. Now, out of curiosity, I want to ask, how do you kind of rate Nightmare versus SSG when Nightmare has like a bit of extra flexibility in the fact that they have Rhino?
Yeah, Rhino is pretty good, but I think like for now, I haven't seen him play in a while. I think they just want to stick with Painkiller, so I think it doesn't add too much.
So, and when it comes down to that, SSG are just better in the mirror.
I wouldn't say SSG are like a lot better, but they definitely are better.
Right. All right. Well, that pretty much wraps up all the questions I have for you today. But before I let you go, do you have any messages that you want to give to the Team Liquid fans or anything you want to shout out?
I just want to shout out the fans for sticking with us, even when we got a pretty poor placement in stage 1. We got second place in stage 2. We got third place, we got second place, and now it's time for first place. It's finally time. So
Getting that upward trend.
Yeah, thanks for sticking with us.
All right. Awesome. Well, Rupal, thank you so much for taking your time to join us today. It's been awesome having you on and getting your insight on everything.
Thank you.
And with that, we come to the end of another interview. Make sure that you follow Rupal and Team Liquid on their social pages so you can keep an eye out for their matches. And you'll definitely want to know when those are happening because the playoffs are this weekend and you are not going to want to miss them. You're going to want to see if Team Liquid can secure that #1 seed like they're so confident in. And of course, make sure you follow owtv.gg on our social pages as well, so you can keep an eye out for more interviews just like this and find out what's happening behind the scenes with your favorite teams and your favorite players. But again, that is going to be a wrap for today. This has been Rupal joining me. I've been Apostle. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you all next time.